Hello, everyone. Welcome to TD Board Gamers. My name is Dave,
And I'm Dirk.
and today we're going to do a review of Wonder Man. Dirk and I finally, between all the delays and stuff, got a chance to play Wonder Man in all the aspects. And so now we're going to do a hero review. And this is going to be a little different, and it's going to be
I'm going to tell you right now,
pretty long, probably.
I saw what Dave pulled for this, and he tells me he's got a plan. I have no idea what it is, but I'm wondering what the heck he thinks he's doing.
Yeah.
I'm going to be really honest with you.
Whoa.
Whoops. Sorry. That was me.
All right. But first, we're going to review Wonder Man's specific cards, and then you'll see what I got planned. And yeah, we did get a promo from a content creator when we were at Con of Heroes, so thank you very much. But yeah, so we're going to start with Simon Williams here. He's got a 3 recovery. He's an ionic energy being, and you may include events with a printed energy resource as part of your deck building. So outside your chosen aspect. So that's pretty cool. And then set up, you're going to put the ionic physiology card into play, and we'll go over that.
All right. And then on the Wonder Man side, so he is an aerial Avenger. He thwarts for 2. He attacks for 1. He has a defensive 2. And he's got the power recycling. So Wonder Man gets +1 attack for each card tucked under Ionic Physiology, which we'll get to that one in a minute. But as a force response, after Wonder Man makes a basic attack, you're going to discard each card that is tucked under the Physiology. So, yeah, so he will get them. And as long as you don't make a basic attack with him, which there are plenty of ways to use his beefed up attack without using the basic, then he gets to keep those cards under there. But
which is a big premise of this video.
All right. All right. So his ionic physiology. So this is a permanent upgrade. And it can have a maximum of 3 cards tucked underneath it at any given time. But as a response, after you play an event that has a printed energy on it, then you can choose to tuck that under here from your discard pile. So I guess technically you have to discard it first, but then you play it, you discard it, and then you tuck it up under there. And this is the part that I always forget. Whenever you do that, you actually get to heal 1 damage from your identity. So that might actually be a reason why if there's 3 under there, you might want to tuck a different one under there. And you'll still have to discard one of the cards that was previously under there.
You can't do that.
You can't do that. Never mind. I guess you can't do that. I haven't actually done that. I was thinking maybe you could, but yeah, that might be a reason to actually use your basic is so that you can tuck more under there and get
if you need for healing. Yeah. But a lot of and you'll see a big concept of one of my decks is never removing the cards underneath. But so you do lose the healing, but the idea is to get 3 events tucked under there, and then his base attack is like ridiculously gross.
Yeah, and I tend to forget the healing, so it actually kind of works for me.
All right. But first, we're going to go over Wonder Man cards himself. So first, we have Active Altruism. This is his thwart. We got 3 copies. It's a 0 cost event, and you get to remove 1 threat from a scheme and then remove 2 additional threat from that scheme for each energy resource you overpaid for this card to a maximum of +2. So that's another big key takeaway of Wonder Man is that he can overpay for a lot of his cards.
Yeah, in fact, you want to overpay for his cards.
Right, and he's got some built-in overpaying as well.
All right, so then we've got 2 copies of the Ionic Blast. So this is a 1 cost event that it deals 3 damage to an enemy, and you're going to deal an additional 2 damage for each resource that you overpay, for each energy resource that you overpay, up to a maximum of 3. So this can deal a total of 9 damage for a single event if you've overpaid for it. And we'll get to how you overpay without actually paying.
All right, then we got 3 copies of Starstruck. It's a 1 cost attack superpower, hero action attack. Deal damage to an enemy equal to your attack. If you overpaid for this card with an energy resource, stun that enemy. And like his basic attack is 2, but then if you have ways to bump it up and keep it out, then he's going to do amazing amount of damage with that.
Then you've got 2 copies of Energy Siphon. So this is a resource that he's got. It provides an energy, but whenever you spin this from your hand, You can take up to 3 damage, and for each point of damage that you take, it produces an additional energy. So this is one way you use a single card, and you can actually provide 4 energy here with a single card. So that's one way, but it does cost you damage.
All right, then we got Wonder Fans here. It's a 1-cost support. As an alter ego action, you can exhaust Wonder Fans and choose. You can tuck one event with a printed energy resource from your discard pile under Ionic Physiology, or you could draw a card.
All right, then we've got Jet Belt. So this is a 2-cost upgrade. It is a tech item. It's a hero resource. You can exhaust the Jet Belt and generate an energy resource for an event. So basically it's an energy there. Or as a hero resource, you can exhaust the belt, discard a card that's tucked under here to generate an energy resource. I actually say or. Technically, you could do both. So this card in a single turn can generate.
No, you have to exhaust.
Oh, both of them do have to. You can do either one. So,
right. So basically, for free, you get an energy resource for an event, or you have to discard one of the cards tucked under there for an energy resource for anything. Yeah. All right. Then we got Mr. Hollywood here.
Yeah, this one.
So this, you generate an energy resource to overpay for a card, limit once per card. So you don't exhaust it. And as we saw the earlier events, it said, you could limit 3, limit 2. This would count as one of them. And so if you had 2 of those, the altruism or something, you could play this for each of them. Or you could trigger this for each of them.
Yeah, and now it does have to be used to overpay. You can't use it for just a generic resource.
Right.
But it's a free overpay resource. Then you've got his signature sunglasses. So this one costs item upgrade. And as a response, after you change forms, you can choose to either tuck an event under here with a printed energy from your discard pile, or you can add a card tucked under here into your hand.
Yep. Then you have a What Are You? It's a 2-cost upgrade. It's a superpower. Force interrupt. When Wonder Man would be defeated, you reset his hit point dial to 4 and change to alter ego. You may tuck events with a printed energy resource from your discard pile under Ionic Physiology, so you're loading it up. And until there are 3 cards tucked there, and then you remove this card from the game. So this is like one of those fun, I will not die cards. All right, then we're going to look at his obligation and Nemesis set.
All right, so his obligation here is pacifism. So, of course, you're going to give this to the Simon player. And while this is in play, Wonder Man cannot attack. And you have to go to alter ego action to get rid of it, but you can exhaust this and exhaust him, or discard 3 cards from underneath the Ionic Physiology to discard this card. So I do like the fact that you've got a couple of different ways that you can get rid of it. And normally if I do this, I'm going to try to exhaust myself, but if I do need to go down and heal or something, I can still choose the option to get rid of the cards.
All right. Then we got his Nemesis here, Grim Reaper, 2 scheme, 2 attack, 3 hit points. He's a cyborg. He's got quick strike. And as a force response, after Grim Reaper attacks and defeats an ally, deal that ally's controller a face-down encounter card.
We've got the brother versus brother side scheme. This comes in with 2 threat per player, but as an additional cost to attack Grim Reaper, you must discard 1 card from your hand, and it's got an amplify on it.
It comes in with 2 threat per player.
Yep, said that.
Okay. Then we have the Scythe Strike. This is a treachery. When revealed, if Grim Reaper is in play, he activates against you. Otherwise, take 2 indirect damage.
And then we've got 2 copies of Death Cannot Die. So this treachery, whenever it's revealed, Grim Reaper activates against you. And if he's not in play, you're going to find him and reveal him. So he won't activate that turn, but he will come into play. And if it's a boost, then if he's in play, he's going to activate against you. And then after this activation. So whatever this activation is, then he will activate against you as well, whether it's, whether it's a score, thwart, an attack, whatever. He'll activate against you if he's out.
All right, so pull Simon Williams back out for a second.
All right.
Okay, so yeah, as we mentioned, so his deck building is that you can have events with printed energy from any aspect. And so there's a lot in here. but one of the
Understatement.
one of the critical cards, and so we usually go aspect to aspect if you've seen these review videos before, but I'm showing this card first because this card is critical for a lot of the cards depending on, and doesn't matter what aspect for the most part. This is
since it's an energy event, any
Yeah.
of his builds can use this.
right. So this is Unified Strike. It's a hero up. When an ally uses a basic power, you can exhaust your hero, add your hero's matching power to that ally's power for this use. That ally does not take consequential damage for this use. So he is a 2/2/2 or 2/1/2, sorry. But if he has 3 energies tucked under ionic physiology, now he has a basic ATK of 4. So if the ally is a 2/2, he's attacking for 6 and does not take consequential damage. So it's really nice on those allies that might take 2 or more consequential. So we're just going to kind of keep this off to the side.
Okay.
All right. So the way we do this is we go aspect by aspect. So one of the key cards for my aggression deck idea actually is this brute force upgrade. It costs 1. Your hero gets +1 attack. Your basic attacks gain piercing, but you discard, and so you discard any tough statuses, of course, from the target before dealing damage. But a force response is after you make a basic attack, discard brute force. However, if you're using this with the ally, you get to add the different brute forces that.
So you don't have to discard.
Right. So if you have 3 brute forces and 3 tuck cards, you now have an attack of 7. So that's pretty good. And then a couple cards just to kind of add in insult to injury, which I guess is, so then of course I would throw aggressive condition. So obviously we're playing an aggression, obviously in this deck. Aggressive conditioning is a 3-cost upgrade, play under any player's control, max 1 per player. You get +3 hit points and +1 attack. So now you have an attack of 8. And then you throw combat training and max 1 per player, +1 attack. So now you have a base attack of 9. So you are adding 9 to the attack that the ally does with Unified Strike. Okay, so a couple things else to remember is he is aerial and he's an Avenger. So there's quite a few cards, and we're going to kind of flash a lot of these, but the other thing also is allies that hit hard on their own for the different aspects. So for aggression, we got Captain America here. So he's a 2/2. He comes in tough, and you get to ready a shield character, so you would have to build around it for his ability. But the main thing is I have it because he's got a 2 attack and 2 thwart, so he can thwart for 4, or he can attack for whatever number I said. So it's, wait, is it?
Well, I think
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So he would attack for 11.
I thought we were at 10.
Well, we're at 9 for Hercules.
So you got 3 for the, or no, 3 for the brute force, 3 for the cards. So that's 6, 7, 8, right?
This
Oh no, his attack's
4.
only 1. 8.
Right.
Okay.
So he's a base 9.
Yeah, 9.
Okay, so go ahead and grab that. So Hercules is another one. If you have a lot of minions, of course, you can play him cheaper, but he's got a base attack of 3. So Sentry, this is good for thwarting or attacking. He's got another base 3. So that's why he's in here. Shatterstar, he's a 2/2. So, but he also has, when you attack a minion, you get to engage it. If you're already engaged it, he gets another +1 to the attack. So then he's a base attack of 3.
That'd be great to use like.
And you add the 9, he's attacking for 12.
What's the one that brings him to you? The
get over here.
Get over here. Yeah, it'd be great.
Which he could use because he's aerial. I can't remember if I had it in here or not. She-Hulk. So She-Hulk is a little weird with the Unified Strike. You'd want her to take some damage first, but if she's down to 1 hit point, say, then she's got a base attack of 4. Thor. Now Thor is amazing because he's got a base attack of 3. You spin an energy. Oh, that's very hard for Wonder Man, and that's to every minion that's engaged with a player. Two-Gun Kid, this is great because he's only a base 2, but you get to do it to 2 different enemies. So especially like if it's a multi-villain scenario, or you just have a pesky minion that's out to, you're doing a boatload of damage to 2 targets. Wasp is another amazing ally. She's got a base 3, and her pin particles are based on energy, which you're going to have a lot of energy. You could actually just have her at 1 hit point, but you probably want to load her up for the turns that you don't have unified strike. That's the thing. And Wolverine, he's got a base 3. The nice thing is they don't take consequential, so it doesn't matter if Wolverine has a printed 2 consequential because he's taking nothing.
Yeah, but even if he did, then you just don't attack with him for a turn or two. He'll back or use the unified strike for a turn or two, and he'll back up. So.
Okay, so then some of these cards are just because they got printed energy. So you'll pay for this. So after you take damage, you get to remove threat. And it's an energy. Bombs Away is great because it's energy and aerial. So you exhaust an aerial character you control, so you'd want some aerial allies. And you deal 3 damage to the villain and each minion engaged with that player. Browbeat. Now, it's not an energy, but you can only play if you're an Avenger, but allows you to do damage if you're an Avenger. Dive bombs, great for aerial characters, of course, in general. But we're playing as an aerial player. Here's the card that Dirk was talking about, the Get Over Here. So that one works for Thor ally and stuff. Into the Fray. So this is another good way to remove some threat. And if you're combining it with, well, no, this is just still 6 damage, right? But it's a printed energy. 1 by 1. This is another one that I probably would use it once, and then this would be one I probably keep tucked under him. But you do 2 damage to an enemy, and then if you defeat an enemy, you can do 2 damage to another enemy.
And that one will continue to change, doesn't it? Or
no, it's just.
Oh no, it doesn't. Okay, twice. Not that one.
It's
a different card.
All right, pitch back because he's aerial, so you get to after your hero attacks, you deal 4 damage to an enemy. Now, Relentless Assault is a printed energies. That's why it's in here. But you want to spend a strength for the overkill, but that's not that hard to do.
Well, yeah, because you got the training.
Right. Now, this card is so the brute force deck idea is not the only aggression deck I play, but with him. So this actually does not work with the brute force because you would do a basic attack. But if you're ready to give up the brute force, I guess, you had that 9 and you're doing another 6, that's 15 points of damage with piercing.
Yep.
So again, this is if you're not doing the brute force thing or you're just ready to trigger it, it's another +2 damage. Is another energy where you basically mill for a minion, but it's printed energy. This one you'd have to build around a little bit with having some upgrades, but it's another one that deals 7 damage to an enemy that has an upgrade. This is just a really nice card to allow you to get a minion and allows you to get an attack event. Battle Fury, after you attack and defeat a minion, then after your hero attacks and defeats a minion, then you get to deal 1 damage to your hero and discard Battle Fury to ready. So again, this would not work with the brute force unified strike part, but Blood Rage is after you defeat an enemy with a basic attack.
Actually, no, that one would.
No, after your hero attacks. This, right. You're having an ally do it.
Yeah, but you could still attack with an event.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And ready.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Blood Rage says, yeah, so if you attack and defeat, you can discard it, take a damage to draw a card. Now, this is another, it's kind of going back to the, if you put this on one of your main minions you're attacking with, and since they don't take consequential damage, this does an extra +2 attack. And it does add 1 consequential damage, but if you're using Unified Strike, they take no consequential damage. So this is a way to make them allies even stronger. All right. Now, you obviously don't, now I'm moving to Justice. So now obviously you don't have the brute force part anymore, but you still have a 7 base, a 6 base attack. Oh, no, you wouldn't. You'd have a 4 base attack because you're playing Justice.
Yeah, you don't have the conditions.
Yeah, you don't have the conditions anymore. But you have the +1 plus the 3 events. And if you can convince an aggression player to put a combat training and aggressive conditioning on you, then that helps. But even with a base 4 attack, that's pretty useful. But now we're going to be concentrating on the thwart as well. But so Banshee here, so I picked allies that have good both stats. So we got 2 thwart, 2 attack, and after Banshee thwarts, he can confuse a minion, but the main thing is he can attack for 6, or he can thwart for, 6, because the spoiler, the heroic upgrades are in here. So that's a 6/6, basically at that point.
She's fun.
Blindfold's fun. I'd probably only use her for thwarting, but because the attack is a base 0. But after she enters play, you get to look at the top 5 cards of the encounter deck, discard one of them, and put the rest back in the same order.
Yeah, I like her, but at the 2 for 3, it's like, it's not the best payoff. But yeah, if you can actually, bring her out and keep her around for a little while,
Yeah,
it's nice.
She's thwarting.
I love her comes into play ability.
Yeah, she's thwarting with 6 for Unified Strike, because Unified Strike is when you use a basic power, it could be thwarting or attacking.
Yeah, but she's one. Honestly, I would not hesitate to let her take damage too much, especially if you're getting near the end of your deck, because her comes into play ability is pretty sweet.
Now this is amazing. We got Captain Britain, because he's a 3/3. He takes 2 consequential, but if you're using the Unified Strike, now he's hitting for 7 or thwarting for 7 and takes no consequential damage.
Yep. Love this guy.
So Daredevil, he's only a 6/6, but when he thwarts, you get to deal damage to an enemy. But that's still pretty impressive.
Well, I mean, great thing there is those picking off toughness with him.
Right. So Dazzler, again, she'd be a 6/6. And after Dazzler enters play, you can fuse an enemy. Now, Eros is here mainly for thwarting, but also for his coming into play ability. After you play Eros from your hand, you can confuse a minion for each mental resource used to pay for him. Now, it's a little harder to do if you're going straight all energy, but there's going to be some mental cards in your deck. There just is.
Yeah, I've seen some builds for him that don't have an overflow of energy. So I mean,
yeah. Farrell's
builds out.
Farrell's another good one. She would be a 6/6 as well with Unified Strike. And after she thwarts, you discard the top card of your deck. For each resource icon discarded this way, deal 1 damage to the villain. Firebird, again, she would be a 6/6. But she comes in with a rebirth counter, so she's actually got some extra health, which is nice. You could and then when she would be defeated by consequential damage, remove 1 rebirth counter from her, heal all damage from her instead. So, that's inevitably there's going to be turns where you don't have Unified Strike. It's just, you can't have Unified Strike every turn with only 3.
And of note, hers is if you're dealt consequential, so it doesn't happen if she blocks.
Right. But now we got Jessica Jones here.
There you go.
So you got
with the Unified Strike.
With a Unified Strike, you get a lot of side schemes in play. Yeah, she's going to be amazing. Sentry, he just has some very good stats. But after he enters play, you do search for a side scheme. So that could help Jessica for that matter. And reveal it. But if you're unifying strike with the thwart, you probably can get rid of the side scheme, especially like in a 2-player game that comes out for playing them. So
yeah, the only drawback is if you don't find one to bring out, then you do have to add 6 threat to the main scheme. So do be prepared that you might have to deal with that.
And he has an attack of 3, so if you need to do some damage, that he's amazing for that. Speed. Now he's only got a 2 thwart, but the advantage of him is after he thwarts, you get to ready him. So you get the Unified Strike, the massive Unified Strike attack or thwart, say, and then you could just turn around and do a normal thwart, or attack. So you only take 1 consequential for him activating twice.
Yep.
Venom, I mean, he's 2 consequential, so with a Unified Strike, you get to ignore that. And when there's no threat on the main scheme, well, you reduce it by 1. So you use Unified Strike, maybe clear the main scheme, and then later on you're thwarting or attacking with him, and he's going to take 1. And then we got Wraith here. Ooh, he just has an amazing attack of 3. And when a boost card is turned face up, you can exhaust him to deal 1 damage to him, cancel the card's boost effect. So it's got another added bonus. Okay, and again, he is Avenger and Aerial. So we've got Agile Flight here, which you have to be Aerial to play it. So remove a total of up to 5 threat from among schemes.
Yeah, and what I love about this one is the fact that you get to pick and choose from the different schemes that are out there, so it does not all have to be on one. So that's a little bit expensive, but that's nice. Nice ability.
Then we got Even the Odds, which requires an energy, so that's very hard for Wonder Man. Remove 1 threat per player for each side scheme. Deal 1 damage to the villain for each side scheme defeated this way. So that's just he's gonna have energy up the wazoo. Everywhere all at once. You have to be Aerial to play it, and you choose X schemes. Remove 2 threat from each scheme. 3 threat instead if you overpaid, and Mr. Hollywood is allowed for overpay, so you could use that for discard. Foil, this is a great, nice card when the villain schemes. You could just cancel it. It's a nice cheap one. This is actually a great card if you're not playing Justice to have included in your deck because it's cheap, and it can go under Wonder Man, for the Ionic Physiology. For Justice, you remove 3 threat from a scheme, 4 instead if you have a mental. Well, you have Sense of Justice. Okay, you got it. Homeland Intervention, exhaust up to 3 shield cards you control and choose a scheme. Remove 2 threat from the scheme for each shield card exhausted with. But it's a 0 cost energy. So even if you're just, this is a good card that you can play and keep it permanently tucked under. Maybe you have the helicarrier and that's all maybe you're only getting 2 out of it, but if you want to build around it, you can. Running interference, you have to be an Avenger, which he is. Remove 2 threat from a scheme. Remove X additional threat from the main scheme to a maximum of 3, where X is equal to the villain stage number. So this is really nice if you're playing Expert Civil War, because then there's stage 4. So even better. Turn the Tide is another nice cheap energy event. After your hero thwarts and removes threat from a scheme, deal 3 damage. So you actually have to do the thwart yourself. Yaw and Roll, this is another aerial. After your hero thwarts, you remove 3 threat from a scheme.
Love that one.
And then we got Eye in the Sky. So when you reveal a non-elite minion, exhaust an aerial character you control and discard this card to cancel the effects of the card and discard it. Then reveal another card. All right. And then, of course, to bump up the thwart that we talked about, we got Heroic Conditioning, which gives you 3 hit points and +1 thwart. And Heroic Intuition, which gives you another +1 thwart. So that's how you have a thwart of 4. And you throw it in with those allies that are doing 2 or whatever. That's how you get the 6. This is how you generate the mental for, say, for Justice, for example. You exhaust it and you generate a mental.
Great all-around Justice card, though.
Yep. All right. Now we go to Leadership. So again, now, obviously Unified Strike is leadership card. So, doesn't count against your, you can play that legally anyways, but you're going to have non-leadership events in your deck most likely. Ant-Man. So Ant-Man is like Wasp. He's a 2/2, but you can, but it's any resources. Doesn't matter what the resource is to give him the pin.
Yeah, and again, it's overpaid, so you automatically can put a 1 on him.
So then we got Beast here. So he's a 2/2. So this is great, attacking for 6 or thwarting for 6. But they also, you can reuse a resource, even if it's, say, the energy card that's in your deck, so that which is the printed double energy. Boom. Now you've got a second use playing it. We got Beta Ray Bill here. He's mainly for attacking because he's got a 3 value. But if he attacks and defeats a minion, especially with Unified Strike, you get to remove 2 threat from the main scheme. It is kind of spinny, though. We just got back from Connie Hero, so we got an alternate art here for Cable. 2 thwart, 3 attack, and after Cable thwarts and defeats the side scheme, draw a card. But also, he's got a really beefy attack as well. That's another card we got from Connie Heroes. Captain America, he costs 6. 2/2, he's tough, but you reduce the cost for each Avenger that you control. We got Captain Marvel here. She's a 2/3. But here's the fun thing with her. After Captain Marvel enters play, you discard the top 4 cards of your deck. If you discarded a printed energy resource, most likely, deal 3 damage to an enemy. And if you discarded more than 1 printed energy, most likely, you get to stun that enemy. Then we got Cyclops here. So he costs 3. He's a 2/2. But after Cyclops enters play, choose an enemy. Until the end of the phase, increase the amount of damage that enemy takes by 1. So this is great, especially if you're the first player, because he's still going to hit hard and also helps the rest of the players as well. So we got Deathcry. She just has a really beefy attack, which is nice. And when she makes a basic attack, and that includes with Unified Striker, deal your hero 1 damage, and she takes -1 consequential damage for this attack. So this one's a little goofy with Unified Strike because you still take a damage, but
Well, you're going to take one of the damage.
but she's going to take nothing with Unified Strike.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so it's a little weird with but she's still nice for non-unified strike.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wouldn't even bother with that with the unified strike.
Probably not, but
Yeah.
she's got a 3 attack.
Yeah, there.
Falcon, he's a 2/2. That's why he's in here.
Aerial Avenger.
And he's also aerial and Avenger. Yeah, so team building is great. After Falcon enters play, look at the top 3 cards of the encounter deck for each treachery. Looked at this way, remove a threat. We got Gentile. He's here because his attack is so high. And he takes a -1 consequential after he attacks the villain. But so that's great for when he attacks the villain, but unified strike would be nothing. Giant Man, he's a 2/2, but he also gets +2 attack when he has 3 or more remaining hit points. So he's going to hit really hard. Iron Man's a 2/2, plus if you decide to Voltron him, you can get upgrades on him for free. So that's pretty cool. Kalu, he's here mainly because you want to get events, because you want to get the events to either tuck under there or just to trigger or to get to unified strike faster. Kid Omega, he's a 2/2, which is nice, but the big thing is you can spend an energy to deal 1 damage to each enemy, so that's huge. Or if you happen to do a mental, you can remove a threat from each scheme. But he's mainly in there.
You're probably there for the damage.
He's mainly in there for the damage. M, she's a 2/3, and after she enters play, you defeat a minion with fewer hit points than she does. She has 4. If you throw in team training, she'd be 5. But the big thing is that she's got an attack of 3. This is.
Yeah, I figured she'd be in here.
Yeah, so Slingshot. So again, she's a 2/2, which is really nice. But you could spend an energy resource to put her into play, and then she keeps coming back into your hand. So you could play her every turn.
So yeah, you put her into play. You let her take the consequential, and then just take her back.
Yeah. Then we got Stinger. Stinger's here because you're an Avenger. It's just an extra ally. She would be like a chump blocker, but hey, you get an extra ally.
And she's an energy if you need to pay.
Yep.
Use her to pay for something.
4 is a 3/3. That's why he's in here. But after he makes a basic thwart, you discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until you discard a minion. Put that minion in play, engage with you. But the nice thing is now he's attacking or thwarting for 7. X-23 is another one, alternate art we got from Con Heroes, but the main reason she's in here is for the attack more than the thwart. But after she attacks and defeats an enemy, you get to ready her. White Tiger, she's a 2/2, which is nice. And the other thing is you get to draw 3 based on whatever stage the villain is. All right. Then we got You Got This as a hero response. And when you exhaust your hero to make a basic attack, or you can discard an ally you control, add that ally's matching power to your hero's power for this use. So this is mainly, I would probably do it for thwarting because I don't want to necessarily, but if you need the attack and you got an ally that's pretty beefy already, boom, you got that. So it's sort of the reverse of Unified Strike, but it's in there. All for 1, deal 3 damage to an enemy and exhaust any number of Avenger characters you control. Deal 1 additional damage to the enemy for each character you exhaust. Avenger's a symbol, costs 4, and ready each Avenger character you control. So this is another one where, especially if you have, say, 2 Unified Strikes in your hand, and you want your juicy ally to activate twice. This is the only one of these cards I have, but it's an energy event. Eternity. You shuffle this card into the encounter deck without looking, and then when revealed, draw 1 card and remove this card from the game. This effect cannot be canceled. And one of the nice things with 1.7 is if this comes out as a boost, then it goes into the encounter discard pile. It actually does not get removed to the game until you actually get it as an encounter card.
Yeah, and once this leaves your hand and it goes to the encounter deck, it's never coming back. So that is
right.
That made these much nicer cards.
Right. So if they're either a boost 0, which is okay, or you get the ability and then it's removed from the game.
Yep.
Yeah. Because before it sucked when it come out as a boost, and then it gets in your discard pile. You pay 2.
You have to wait for it to come back, and they never go off.
You pay 2 to have a 0 boost.
Yeah.
Basically. All right. Then we got Go All Out. It costs 2. It does require an energy. And it can exhaust your hero, deal damage to an enemy equal to your total of your thwart, attack, and defense. Now, if you have 3 cards stuck under, your attack is 4. You have a 2 defense and 2 thwart. Boom, that's 8.
Well, if you're playing, if you're playing leadership, so never mind. Yeah, I was thinking justice.
But if another player gave you some stat boosts, that's just We got inspiring presence. So play only if you're an Avenger, and you get to heal 1 damage from an ally and ready it. So again, this is great for the allies when you may not necessarily have unified strike. You're trying to Voltron. Lead from the front is another great one. Costs 2, and each character you control gets +1 thwart, +1 attack till the end of the phase. So if you have ways to go multiple times, it's even better. Mass attack, 3-cost event. Exhaust 3 allies you control that share a trait with your hero. Deal X damage to that enemy, where X is equal to the total attack of those allies and your hero. And like again, when you have 3 tuck cards, you have an attack of 4.
Yep. And they don't all have to have the same share trait. Since you're Aerial and Avenger,
Yeah.
you can have 1 Aerial, 1 Avenger.
Yep. All right, we got morale boost where you just choose a hero, and until the end of the phase, you get +1, +1, +1. Then we got push ahead. This is the thwart version. So this one's it's in here because it's an aerial event, so you could have it when you're not playing leadership, but it does require at least 1 mental to pay for it. So that might be a little challenging depending on how you build your deck.
This would be great in a Justice deck. It's a thwart event.
That is true. It is a thwart
event.
Yep. Exhaust your hero, yeah. So this is legal in a justice deck. Yeah. So the same thing. It's you add remove threat based on your 3 stats. Teamwork is kind of the opposite of the unified strike, where you would when you use your basic power, you exhaust an ally you control and add that ally's matching power to your hero's power for this card. So this is great, when you have a Voltron. United we stand. You can only play it if you're an Avenger. Heal 1 damage from up to X friendly characters to a maximum of 3 characters, where X is equal to the villain's stage number. Now, the next 2 cards, you can only have one or the other in your deck. So these are team cards. So first we got Flight Squadron, 2-cost support. Play only if your identity has an aerial trait, which you do. If each of your allies has the aerial trait, increase your ally limit by 1. And the card gains response after you play an aerial card, exhaust this card, ready an ally you control. So you'd have to kind of build around this a little differently than maybe I'm showing right now, but it is a valid play doing a aerial heavy deck.
I like the aerial decks.
And Mighty Avengers here. So this is the Avenger version of that. Play under any player's control, max 1 team card per player. And if each of your characters has the Avenger trait, each ally you control gets +1 thwart, +1 attack. So the way I'm usually play Wonder Man, I'd probably have Mighty Avengers over the other.
If with me personally, since I do like the aerials, and with the unified strike being able to ready that 1 ally, I kind of like that. So I would actually probably go with the opposite, but
all right,
different play styles.
And then we got team training here. Each ally control gets +1 hit point.
Wait, what's that?
Yeah. We got the Triskelion here, which gives you another ally. Yep. Then a couple for the Voltron cards here. So we got inspired, attached to an ally, max 1 per ally. The ally gets +1 thwart, +1 attack. And I'm more likely going to have Avenger allies, but if I don't, I can always throw an honorary Avenger in. But Power Gloves here, you attach to an Avenger ally, max 1 per ally, and the attach ally after the attack or thwart, then you get to deal 1 damage to an enemy. So that's another nice thing with Unified Strike. Say I'm thwarting with the Unified Strike, I've bumped, you're doing a bunch of stuff, and then I can turn around and do a damage to like knock a tough off or something. Then we got Reinforced Suit. So this just gives them +2 hit points. So inevitably they are going to take consequential damage. You just can't avoid it. Sky Cycle will allow you to attach to Avenger ally. They gain aerial, and then you can ready the ally. And then we got Wingman here, attached to an aerial ally, max 1 per ally. When another aerial character takes any amount of damage, consequential damage, exhaust. So this is a great way to save your Voltron.
Okay, and then before we move out here of leadership, there was actually something that I thought would, if you're playing leadership with him, this is what I thought was kind of a really cool character to play with, a little combination that you could do. But there's one of the newer cards out called Cameo. So this is a permanent support. So whenever you build this, you would build with this. It does not count against your deck size, does it? This doesn't count against your deck size, does it, Dave? Or does it?
Permanent?
Yeah, it's permanent. Oh, no, it does not say permanent. Wait a minute. Oh, no, just setup. Oh, no, this is our part of setup. So, yeah, this can't count against your, or no, I guess, I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I don't remember if it counts against your deck size. We've looked it up. I don't remember. But basically, it allows you at the beginning of the game, you would search your collection for an identity specific ally that belongs to a different character that's not in play, and you would shuffle that ally into your deck. Then you're going to take and discard 2 cards from your opening hand to start the game. So you do start off with a smaller hand size, so it does hurt a little bit coming out. But if you can come up with an ally that is good enough for it, and I've kind of played around with it, and I don't use it as much as I thought I would. But Wonder Man, I think, makes a very good argument for this one because we have Randall, who came out from the Bishop set. And what Randall does is he's a 3-cost ally, thwarts for 2, attacks for 1. He's got the Temporal X-Men trait. He's got 3 hit points. But his big thing is when he's at play, if you discard a resource card from your hand to ready him. And if that card had a printed energy icon on it, which you're Wonder Man, you're building heavily into energy more than likely, you're going to heal a damage from Randall. So you could potentially, once Randall's out into play, he could potentially stay out for the rest of the game and not, and he's going to continue to heal his consequential. So you don't even necessarily need the unified strikes with him. So you can use those on other characters and still keep him around as well. So I thought that was really good. But since you're doing it and he is a signature ally, I was thinking if you were deciding to do this, you have the option to also make him your sidekick, which gives you the ability to, once you attack it to him, he's going to get an additional 2 hit points. And he becomes your sidekick. He gets that keyword. But after you make a basic recovery, as a response, you could turn around and heal 2 damage to him as well, in case he does turn up taking some type of damage. But the sidekick, and the reason why I would do that is because this would also give you side by side, and this is an event, and yes, it comes in energy, so it can help there as well. But you can, when you play this, you can ready your sidekick and ready your hero. So if you ready your sidekick, then you can ready your hero. So your sidekick does have to be exhausted to use this, so you can ready them. But you'll ready your hero, and then you'll choose to either heal 1 damage to both of them, or you can add +1 to their thwart and attack to each character until the end of the phase. So then, Randall's just even beefier, especially if you do turn up using a unified strike, or it's beefed up the unified strike for somebody else at that point in time. So okay. that was a little combination I thought was kind of a neat one with him.
Yeah, I probably would use Captain Marvel from Spider-Woman.
Yeah, and I saw that, but I saw the Randall. I thought that's kind of a cool one. I like it.
All right, so now we're moving to protection. So we got Iron Fist here. Again, he attacks for 2. He comes in with 2 Mystic counters, and then when he attacks, you can remove an enemy. You can remove a Mystic counter, stun the enemy, and deal an extra damage. So you would do 3 damage, or with Unified Strike, you're doing a lot more, and you can stun the enemy. So that's nice. Luke Cage, who's got a 2 attack, so again, that's great for attacking, and he's just tough. Nightcrawler, 2 thwart, 2 attack. He's an X-Men, but when an X-Men character would take any amount of damage, and there are a couple other X-Men's in here, from enemy attack, you can spend an energy resource and return Nightcrawler to your hand to prevent all that damage. And you got a lot of energy.
Yeah, so he's even better if you've got if you've got an X-Men,
which I do,
character in play. But he will still actually work for a ally, so it does not have to be another hero. It can be an ally, so he does actually still work.
Yeah, I have a few other X-Men in here. All right, so then Nova, mainly again because he's a 2 attack. But the nice thing is when an enemy initiates an attack against you, you can spend an energy resource and deal 2 damage to that enemy. So that's pretty nice with Nova. Patriot. Again, he's got a 2 attack. He costs 3, 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 hit points. And as a response, after you engage a minion, you can give him a tough. Here's another X-Men for Nightcrawler. Polaris, 4-1 attack, 2, 3 hit points. And response, after Polaris enters play, give an X-Men character a tough status card, which could be herself. Protector, I put her in here because she's a 3 attack. She costs 4, 1 thwart, 3 attack, and After Protector would take any amount of damage, you could spend a mental resource to reduce the amount by 1. So I'm not really doing it for her power so much as mental. She's also an Avenger, so that helps with like team building. Here's another X-Men. Rock Slide costs 4, 1 thwart, 3 attack, 2 consequential. He has Retaliate, which is nice, and 6 hit points, but a base attack of 3. Rogue, she costs 4, 2 thwart, 2 attack. She's another X-Men. Deal 1 damage to another friendly character till the end of the round. Rogue gains each of that character's traits and adds the character's printed thwart and attack to her matching power, so that's even better.
Oh, so wait a minute. Her with the unified strike. Oh.
Yeah. And then
she'd be sweet.
And then some of those guys have like 3 attack and stuff, so yeah.
So let's see, deals for friendly characters. So deal it to yourself. So
Yeah,
she would get the 4, and then with the unified strike, so she's looking at the 10 by herself right there.
Yeah.
And it just takes you 1. Oh, you haven't done that one yet.
Then we got Siren. She's a 2 thwart, 2 attack. And after she attacks, she stun a minion. And then Warpath, he's another 2/2. He comes in tough, but after Warpath defends against an attack, play an event with a hero action ability from your hand paying its cost. So you could, you couldn't do Unified Strike because that's an interrupt, but you could turn around and play, any attack like bombs away or something, during the villain phase. All right, then we got I can do this all day. It's 1 cost event. Hero interrupt defense. When an enemy attacks, declare your hero as the defender without exhausting them.
So I just thought of something like with the Warpath. You could also, with him, if you're doing him, because you've got the attacks then that you could do during the villain phase, you could put in the cards that you get a benefit if you defeat a villain.
Yeah.
Or an enemy during that villain phase.
Yeah, I don't think I have that in here, but yeah. Then we got aerial intervention. So there's an interrupt. When a character would take any amount of damage from an attack, exhaust an aerial character you control to prevent up to 3 of that damage. And of course, you're aerial.
Now, note, if you do that, then the unified strike doesn't work.
Well, yeah, because you're exhausted. But we got bait and switch, which is 1 cost event. The villain attacks you, remove 4 threat from the main scheme. And again, this could be played when you're not playing protection. Cuts both ways, 0 cost event. When an enemy attacks, you gain Retaliate 1 until the end of the phase. I love this card. Defiance. I play this even when I'm not playing protection for Wonder Man. When a boost card on an enemy card attacking you would be turn face up, discard it instead. Desperate Defense. 1 cost event. Hero interrupt, you get +2. And if you take no damage, you ready?
Yep, and it's hard to see it in there, but it does actually provide energy.
Yeah. All right, then we have Disarming Defense. Hero interrupt. When your hero defends against an attack, it gains +2 for this attack. And if you take no damage from the attack, discard an attachment on an attacking enemy with the hero action or hero response. So you've got a built-in Sunfire ability.
Yeah.
We got Ever Vigilant, again, because he's aerial. Costs 2. Play only if you're aerial. You get to ready your hero and remove 2 threat from the main scheme. We got First Hit, which is a 1 cost event. Hero action, deal 2 damage to the villain, or hero interrupt. When a minion initiates attack, deal 2 damage to that minion. And yes, you could kill a minion before he hits you. Jump Flip. Now, this does not provide energy. However, when you would take any amount of damage, you can prevent 2 of that damage. And if you paid for this card using an energy resource, remove 2 threat from the main scheme. And it's very easy for you to generate energy. Leading Blow. When your hero makes a basic attack, discard the top card of the encounter deck. Reduce your hero's attack for this attack by the number of the printed boost icons on that card. And if this attack still deals damage, ready your hero. So the fun thing is, like if you're doing it with aggression and you've got 3 cards tucked under and you got the combat training and the aggressive conditioning, so you have a base attack of 6. Well, thankfully, the game has not given us 6 boost icon encounter cards. The most we've seen is 4. So that is a great card to put in.
Yeah, thanks for putting that out there.
Yeah.
Now it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's great for...
You didn't hear that, guys.
Yeah, like they watch us.
Yeah.
But so that'd be great for the aggression deck.
Yeah.
Then we got Muster Courage, costs 3. Play only if your identity has the Avenger trait. You can give up to X friendly characters a tough status card to a maximum of 3, where X is equal to the villain's stage number. So again, it's really good in expert mode. Preemptive strike costs 1. When a boost card is turned face up, while the villain attacks, cancel all boost icons on that card and deal 1 damage to the villain for each boost icon. We got repurpose here. Now, I did not put in a bunch of tech, but if you're playing protection and you want this card in here, you could throw in a bunch of tech. I didn't do it for this because there's too many cards as is. But repurpose, it's 0. Discard a tech upgrade you control. Ready your hero. Choose thwart, attack, and defense until the end of the round. Your hero gets plus X to the chosen power, where X is equal to the upgraded printed cost. Now, I think all we got is the energy belt, so you wouldn't want to discard that. But yeah, you could, if you throw a force field generator or energy barrier, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, you could play that in any, but you're probably playing that one in protection.
Yeah. Return the favor. Well, I mean, if you,
well, you could do it with guns, I guess.
Yeah. If you're doing justice, you could do
you could do it.
You could do the sonic rifle or whatever.
Actually, it makes aggression better too.
Yeah,
if you're using guns
like hand cannon and stuff. Yeah. Return the favor. It costs 0. Discard cards to the top of the encounter deck until you discard a treachery. Reveal that treachery and then deal 5 damage to the villain. Riposte costs 1. When your hero defends against an attack, it gets plus 2 defense for that attack, and if you take no damage, you deal 3 damage to the attacking enemy. Sidestep, so you have to be protection to play this, but costs 1, and then when you would take any amount of damage, you prevent 3 of that damage, and if you paid using an energy resource, again, not that hard, deal 1 damage to an enemy. To it, it could be a different enemy.
Yeah, okay. To an enemy, so that's the great part about that one.
Stand together. So, this is an alliance card, does cost 4, but when a friendly character would take any amount of damage, you exhaust an Avenger character, exhaust a Guardian character, prevent all that damage, and they'll deal that much damage to the attacking enemy. So that would be a little bit of deck building around a little bit, or coordinate. Or teammates. Yeah, stronger together. Hero run up. When a character other than your hero would take any amount of damage, if that character shares a trait with your hero, reduce damage by defense.
So that's another way to keep your allies around a little bit longer.
Right. And you have a 2 defense. And then, of course, if you're playing in protection, you probably have a 4 defense, which you'll see in a minute. We got subdue here. It's a 1 cost event. When an enemy initiates an attack, that enemy gets -3 attack for this attack. This is a great card, even if you're not playing protection, to have in your kit. True Grit. It's a 1 cost event. After your hero defends against an enemy attack, remove threat from the scheme equal to your hero's thwart. So yeah, you throw this in the justice deck, and you're removing 4 threat when you defend against the enemy attack, and it doesn't matter if you take damage or not. Yeah, it doesn't say take no damage.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, so you throw that into a justice, and you've got the 2 heroics, and boom, you're removing 4 threat. Then of course, just to bump up your defense, if you're for some of those cards, you got armored vest, which gives you +1 defense. Defensive conditioning gives you another +1 defense and 3 hit points. We got height advantage here because you're aerial. While your identity has the aerial trait, which you permanently have, reduce the amount of damage you take from each enemy attack by 1. And when your turn begins, you discard the card. And the last protection card is Nerves of Steel. So this is another way to generate the energy for those cards, but you exhaust it to generate energy for a defensive end. Okay, now we move on to pool.
And it continues.
Yep. We got Lady Deadpool here. She's a 2/2. Now, what's interesting with pool is they don't take consequential damage. So this, so if you're doing pool, you may not even bother with Unified Strike, although to get the extra damage, I mean, you still get the extra damage, I guess, or so that you could do an extra 2 thwart or 2 attack, I guess. But this is just because there's a 2/2, but you can defeat a non-elite minion. Dirk hates this card. Yeah. Negasonic Teenage Warhead. She costs 4, 2/2. She provides a hazard. And when a treachery is revealed, you could give her 2 damage and cancel the treacheries.
Honestly, I put her in decks, and I will put first aids in the decks for her.
All right, you got Panda Pool here. He costs 4. This is mainly for the attacking. If you're doing the Unified Strike, he comes in tough and he has a hazard. I got this. This could be put into any aspect deck, and basically If the following icons are in play, we got Crisis, deals 3 damage, Acceleration, remove 2 threat, Amplify, ready an ally, and Hazard, draw a card. And then just no pool deck is complete without healing factor. So max 1 per player, and you get to heal 2 beginning of each turn. Okay, then now we go to basic. I promise is the last aspect. We got Agent 13 here. So she thwarts for 2, attacks for 1, but Unified Strike increases that, and she gets to ready a shield support. So that's like even if all you have is a helicarrier, I mean it's just to get to ready it. Cannonball, he's fun for the full aerial concept, but with Unified Strike, of course, he can avoid the double consequential, but when you take any amount of consequential damage, you can reduce the amount by X, where X is equal to the number of aerial cards. So he may not take no consequential if you have enough aerial cards in your hand anyways. So Cannonball is really good for Unified Strike and the non-Unified Strike.
Yeah, I like to include him in aerial.
Yeah, he probably would be an auto-include in a Wonder-Man deck. Colossus, he's here because of the 3 attack. You don't get the discount because you're not a mutant or X-Men, and he comes in tough, but he's just, he's got that base 3 attack. So Deathlock is another 2/2. So this is kind of, these are kind of to help supplement, the allies that you might do in the different aspects. After Deathlock enters play, choose an upgrade in any player's discard pile with a cost of 1 or less that can be attached to Deathlock and attached to Deathlock. So that's really good if you're playing leadership. Got all those leadership ones.
He's also very good in aggression.
Yeah. All right, then we got Dum Dum Dugan. Now he's a 3/3, and you can see all those stars. The Unified Strike, ignore them. And when he uses 1, but if you don't have the Unified Strike, then you have to exhaust up to 3 shield cards to reduce the. Oh no, to get extra damage. Sorry, yeah. For each card exhaust this way, Dum Dum Dugan gets +1 to that power for this use. So if you have if you're going shield nuts, you could. He's a base 6/6, and then you throw in with the Unified, especially Strike, in the aggression, the aggression deck. Because that was 9.
Yeah, he could
10, 11, 12. Yeah, he could swing for 15. Gambit's another good one, but especially if he could find. So what you do, he's a 3X thwart X attack, but X is the number of boost icons. And when you enter play, you look at the top 3 cards of the encounter deck and tuck 1 under, and that's his base stats. So if you can get one of those 4 boost cards, he's a 4/4 by himself.
Yeah, but he also can be nice to get Shadows of the Past out of the game.
Yeah, you can get it to remove it.
Because you don't take any damage with them.
All right, then we got
that's the one.
We got Gilgamesh here. He costs 3, 2 thwart, 3 attack. You do get confused when you play him, but his stats are pretty powerful when you got Unified Strike. So you only have to pay that cost once, and if he stays out for the whole game, he's pretty powerful with Unified Strike. And if you can afford him, you got Heimdall, who again he's a 2/3. He does not have the confuse cost, but he costs more. But then after he enters play, you get to look at the top 3 cards of the encounter deck, discard 1 of them, and put the others back in any order. We got Hope here. She costs 4, 2/2, and she gains the trait, so she would gain Aerial and Avenger. Now, after you play Hope Summers from your hand, search your deck for a superpower card and add it to your hand. Now, Wonder Man had a lot of really good superpowers, so Hope would be good for that. Now, Lockjaw, he's 2 thwart, 2 attack. So again, with Unified Strike, he could probably stay out. But if he ever does go down, you can bring him back. So
yeah, you don't have to wait for him to cycle back through your deck.
Right.
It's the great thing about him.
The funny thing is keeping Lockjaw alive longer than you.
I've never actually thought about doing that.
I know, do you either? We got Melinda May here. She's another 2/2, so that's why she's here. But after you use a basic power, which including with Unified Strike, look at the top card of the encounter deck, and you may discard that card. You got Nick Fury. He's a 2/2 with Unified Strike. He just goes crazy. Draw 3 cards, and he's got some other things, I think. And then Nick Fury Sr. is just in the same boat. 2 thwart, 2 attack, and he draws some cards and some other stuff. We have a short if you want to see some of the others. Professor X, this would be mainly for thwarting, so I'd probably throw him in the Justice deck, actually. And so, yeah, he thwarts for 3, and when he comes into play, Well, Ready and X-Men doesn't help, but you could confuse the villain or stun a minion, so that's nice.
Well, the Ready and the X-Men could help depending on your build.
Yeah, I mean that's true if you're doing the protection with all those protection X-Men allies I have. Snow Guard, she's a 0/0, but the fun thing with her
I love this.
is when she enters play, you choose up to 3 shift counters. And so if you want to go attack heavy, you just give her 1. That gives her +3 and overkill. So with Unified Strike, you're going, so like if you're doing her an aggression, boom, she's a base 3 attack. Or if you put 2 in there, she's base 3 thwart and she has the aerial trait. So she would be good with those cards where you have to exhaust an aerial character, but she could thwart for a lot. Or you can just give her a bunch of hit points with the retaliate.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about her is it doesn't cost you anything to put those different traits,
right,
to pick that. You just pick the number. Now that's what she's got until she goes away. But yeah, you pick whichever one works the best for your deck. She's very versatile. Like
for these decks, I probably wouldn't do the extra hit points and the retaliate because I want her as a good thwarter or attacker. But if you need a defender against something that hits hard.
Yeah, and the cool thing about her though is she could work in any of them because you have her on the offense side, and then all of a sudden you need it for threat, so you let her go down and you bring her back for threat.
Yeah. All right, then we got Swordsman, 2 thwart, 2 attack. So again, that's why he's here. And his basic attack scheme, piercing. And after a boost card is turned face up during an undefended attack, you can declare Swordman the defender without exhausting him. Then we got Yellow Jacket is one of Dirk's new favorites.
I do like that.
Again, he's a 2/2 with 2 consequential, but you don't care about the consequential with Unified Strike. And play only if you're Avenger, which you are. And after Yellow Jacket enters play, search the top 5 cards of your deck for an upgrade and add it to your hand.
Which you could put one of those in there that beefs up one of his stats.
And then we got Avenger Tower here. You don't have to be an Avenger, but if all your allies are Avenger, and as you saw, most of the allies are Avengers, you can increase your ally limit by 1. You throw this in with the leadership with the Triskelion. You could have 5 Avengers, and then Stinger would be number 6. Then I'd probably put the one where you exhaust to draw cards, which I did not include in this, but in a leadership deck I would if I'm doing that. Exhaust Avenger Tower, reduce the cost for the next Avenger by 1. You definitely want to protect if you have a Voltron, so this is just to protect if you're going to force to discard a card. Again, you're an Avenger, so Quinn Carrier provides a wild. If you're going Avenger nuts, you got team building
or
area. Yep. And then this would be for a turn, but let's go back to the aggression deck with the brutal force, and you have 3 aggressive rushes, adrenaline rushes out. Now you're doing 12 base damage. You add that with Unified Strike to the minion or to the ally.
Oh, with Dum Dum, you'd be looking at a
lot.
17, 18, 18.
And then
until the end of the turn.
Right.
So ready him somehow.
Yeah. And then Civic Duty, that's the thwart version that'd be really good for the Justice. And he has like a million really good superpowers. So Def Focus is a good card. It gives you a 1 cost discount. All right. So that was only an hour, not 2 hours. But yeah, that was a lot of cards. But just Wonder Man has just got so many options with the off aspect energies. We promised the Hercules video should not be as long, but we also played all the
I won't let him make it as long, I promise.
I might let Dirk pull the cards. All right. Well, anyways, thank you for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe.
And if you want to see more content by us, go and hit that notification bell down there, and you'll get alerts whenever we post new videos. All right, see you.